charge both of these motherfuckers. It's only at 50%, and this burns out faster than my damn phone. I'll keep this.
But I'm going to charge either, so. But if you need me to get another charger, I can.
I'll just keep this charged from here. I gotta figure out what's up with that laptop, man. That controller's died. I need to put the PlayStation back like I had it.
Hi, I'm My Patriot Supply. I provide gear and supplies for emergency situations.
Despite months and months of pressure and mandates and emotional manipulation, a lot of Americans still don't want to take the experimental drug to stop the cough that for a lot of people, most people even, doesn't pose a particularly grave threat.
Oh, you can't say that anymore.
And the libs are furious about it. They're furious. The libs are melting down. They're posting their meltdowns to TikTok. I don't want to sound like a sexist here. There seems to be a little bit of a skew in favor of women when it comes to these meltdowns.
They just have a lot of feelings.
I don't make the reality, I'm just observing it. And so I decided, as I often try to do, I don't want to just make fun of the libs. I don't want to own them just to own them for owning's sake. I want to own them with a purpose. Okay, I want to take their arguments as seriously as I can, figure out what it is they're trying to say. So my producers have put together the top lib anti-vax, or I guess pro-vax, against the anti-vax TikTok videos of hysterical women, and I'm going to choose the most persuasive argument. Let us begin.
My daughter just called and her boyfriend has tested positive. He's the only person in his work that's wearing a mask out of, 300 people. And now my daughter, who's 29 weeks pregnant, is at risk. And I hate every single one of you who refuses to wear a mask to protect others. I hope this virus finds you. I hope it finds you, and I hope it destroys you. Because the people that are trying to do their part in this are getting sick because of you stupid
It's just buffer. Like all this.
morons. So, please get vaccinated.
Please get vaccinated.
So her anger is coming from this place of concern for her daughter, because her daughter's pregnant, and her daughter's husband has the virus, and so she's really afraid for her daughter. And then she gets really upset and yells and screams and everything.
Calm down, just calm down.
My wife was pregnant during most of the coronavirus. Well, I can't say most of, because it's going to go on forever, but my wife was pregnant from, April of 2020? She was pregnant for the whole thing. We almost never wore masks. We had people over all the time. We went to people's houses. We traveled all over the place. We obviously weren't vaxxed. And the baby's super healthy. It's great. It's totally cool. It's not a big deal. The other problem with her argument is she's saying, because they're not wearing masks, that now people are being infected. So I guess the mask doesn't prevent you from being infected. It only prevents you from giving the infection to other people. But then, so the guy's got the virus, but then the wife doesn't even have the virus yet at the time of this video. They're not really persuasive at all. Next one.
I'm not even so much upset with the anti-vaxxers as much as I am with those that are responsible for the brainwashing, suggestive speech, the now gaslighting that they're doing now as they're backpedaling, saying, oh, no, we always believed in vaccines. Oh, masks are good.
Who's doing that? I'm not doing that backpedaling.
Yeah, you know what? Right.
In America, everyone has a right to buy medicine, young or old. But Democrats want to change that with a new plan that will lead to fewer choices for new medicine.
I love it so much with like how it goes to darker from light to dark. It's so nice. And it's something about his face too. Like he's another like familiar face. Like he looks like
now your constituents
your neighbor or
are
your
filling up the
uncle or
hospitals
whatever.
and the ICUs and are dying.
This is gonna be a good one.
And I care. Yeah, they were anti-vaxxers, but I care.
He likes it so far. It's like,
Okay.
It's like I see the logos for the schools on their
that should
clothes.
have been
I'm like,
showing example, that should have been leading,
Right, the car's not filling in
especially in
either,
our last
There's a
administration,
lot more to go. It's not done.
didn't.
But that's the thing, everything else looks so good that they're
if
like,
Trump
oh
would have
shit.
just put a fucking mask
Them colors are
and
popping,
talked
yo.
about how
Like, I want-
masks are effective.
If I ever get a choice,
and once we got
I
the
want something
vaccine,
like that.
how the vaccine
Like, just the
is
colors, not
effective,
the cartoons.
along with the rest of the right-wing media and politicians.
Yeah,
And now you're going to come out of your
So
hole
once
and
the
completely
sun,
change
I
your
might just have,
tune?
like, it popping out the clouds
So,
right here, maybe.
Or you're
the
gonna be
masks
cliche and put
are
it in the
effective.
corner like we.
And if only Trump had said that the masks
I'm a
are
non-drawer,
effective,
so the first thought was
we wouldn't
like,
be
oh,
in this mess.
up there in the
And
corner.
the masks are so effective that we had to still keep the entire society locked down until we got a vaccine. Because the masks are so effective that we can't go back to normal life until we get a vaccine.
I swear my phone be like
but then we
doing
got
some
the
shit
vaccine.
because
And then anyone who wanted the vaccine got
when I
the
just swiped
vaccine.
over, it was like I was on the
And the
phone.
vaccine is very effective.
The little
you see.
green
And the
thing popped
vaccine
up
is
at the
so
top, but I wasn't
effective
talking to anybody.
that the people who got the vaccine already need to put masks back
They
on.
said,
Because the
secretly
people who got the
takes
vaccine
pictures
are getting the virus because they're very effective. And this is
Alright, so I got a couple things to do.
because Trump wouldn't get the vaccine. Well, he did get the vaccine. He actually, I guess he developed the vaccine under Operation Warp Speed. And then he got the vaccine. And actually, it was Democrats who said they probably wouldn't get the vaccine, up to and including Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
If Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
But this woman is...
Hey, but we gotta watch out what they say, yo. If Donald Trump tell me to take that vaccine, I ain't taking it. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the vaccines are good, they're proven, you know, they're FDA approved. Let's go ahead with
People are
it.
making their own
He just said,
healthcare
but when
decisions
Trump
in
said
a way
this
that
shit,
is
it's like, oh, no.
basically only affecting them, right? Because all the hospitalizations, as she said, are just the people without the vaccine. That's what we're being told. Okay, so it's not affecting the people who did what she wants them to do and get the vaccine. So it's only affecting themselves, and she's very upset because the masks didn't work.
All right, so since these are like basically solid colors, and that's why I didn't switch out, clean off that palette. I
They
just
told us
switched
they wanted
palettes.
the vaccines didn't work as well.
I'm
as they
just go
told
ahead
us
and
they
hop on this and try to work my way through this for a couple hours
Not following.
and go over these colors again so I can get ready to fill them in and add more
I
details.
walk up to the checkout line today, of course I have my mask on. The guy in front of me, big old bald-headed redneck looking dude.
Probably
And
not
they're
supremacists. Probably
minding
Nazis.
his business, and he turns around and is like, there's another sheep. And my automatic response, like without even thinking,
Some big bald head redneck, and this is a white lady. Oh my god, the buffer is so
stand there and go, bah, bah. I mean, I realize that's the worst sheep noise in the whole world, but I made sheep noises at him very loudly and aggressively, and I have never seen a huge grown-ass man be so scared of a 5'2" woman in my entire life. Like, he got his and got out of there. So the next time some Trump humper calls you a snowflake or a sheep or whatever, just match their level of crazy.
The next time.
Why the buffer? No. Shit.
Someone calls you a sheep, prove them right.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Okay. All right. First of all, something tells me he wasn't like scared. He was probably scared for her well-being, as we all are. We're scared for all of these people's well-being, and it's not from the virus either. It's from the mind virus. It's from the soul virus. I actually like this girl. I mean, she's admitting. She's saying, "Yeah, I'm a sheep. I'm a sheep. I will do anything Fauci tells me to do. Yeah, govern me harder, Fauci. Yeah, tell me what to do. Absolutely. Bah."
Bah!
I mean, I find this persuasive, and I think this reflects reality. Next one.
You know what? Special needs kids.
Who the starts a conversation like that?
A whole lot of you. Your parents, your families, your caregivers, your therapists, your doctors. All you special needs out there. Right? Right? Because that's what you mother say to us when you don't want to get vaccinated because it's not FDA approved yet. You have you just will contour your face without looking at one ingredient, and you will go to Starbucks never once checking to see if the FDA has approved pumpkin spice. Right?
Well, if it's a Starbucks, it has been approved.
If you mother knew what it took for me to get my kid from the front door to the car seat, you would understand that I would wear a mask every day for the rest of my life. But your body autonomy, right? Right? So apparently, if we're special needs, we just get to stay home because of you selfish. You know what? I'm done, chat. I'm done, Karen. The lot of you.
Okay, I actually couldn't make sense of most of what she was saying because every other word was an expletive, which our producers have to bleep out. So I didn't hear most of her argument. But she was saying how who cares that the experimental drug wasn't approved by the FDA because although now, I think now one of them is or something, it's in the process. But if a food product makes it to market in America, that means that it has gone through regulators. So it actually, you don't need to check because you know that. But the FDA actually came out with this vaccine and said, well, this is an emergency use authorization, but not a full authorization. You can't simultaneously tell us that this is an epidemic of the unvaccinated and the only people going to hospitals and dying are the unvaccinated. You'll be shocked to hear this. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
No way!
And it's pretty transparent, I think. All right, here's the last one. Here we go.
Went from being a 29-year-old newlywed to a 29-year-old cancer patient. I was able to use money from Aflac to help protect my fertility. I don't know.
My empathy fatigue is so real. Do not ask me to give a shit about you when you get sick and you haven't had the vaccine. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you get sick. Empathy fatigue is more like empathy rage.
So the woman obviously doesn't know what the word empathy means because she's saying she doesn't like these people and she hopes they get sick and she doesn't care about them at all. So empathy is when you have a feeling for someone based on a perceived sort of similarity. Well, I can see myself in their place. I can know how this feels. Right, as opposed to sympathy, which is like, well, I don't really know how that feels, but I feel bad for you anyway. Empathy is like, I know, I see myself in that situation. But she doesn't. She manifestly does not. So it's the opposite of empathy. Also, if you have empathy fatigue, you don't have much empathy in the first place. Also, empathy is not a great guide for anything. Libs love to talk about empathy now, even though they apparently don't know what it means. But a much better guide to your interactions with your neighbors than empathy or sympathy is charity. It's charity. It's caring for someone. It is willing the good of the other person, going out of your way, whether or not you see yourself in that person, just going out and being kind to them and caring for them and performing loving acts for them and giving alms. But the libs don't have charity. And actually, if you talk to very ideological left-wing politicians or you read, leftist theorists, they will tell you they actually hate charity. They hate charity because they think that charity is an impediment to revolution. So Whittaker Chambers talks about this in Witness. He says that he and another communist walked by a bum on the street, and they wanted to hand him a nickel, but they said, no, you can't. That charity, that will deaden the revolutionary spirit. Or Bernie Sanders said the same thing. He goes, I don't like charity. I want there to be a revolution, and we want you to give charity.
The American people are tired of women.
They don't like charity. This woman's obviously not charitable or empathetic or particularly sympathetic. The winner is so obvious. I don't even need to say it. It's the sheep. Obviously, the sheep. Bah is the only one who made a convincing argument. An argument, actually, with which I cannot argue. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with my pick for the absolute top, most persuasive lib COVID meltdown. Post other videos you want me to review next. We'll see you next time.
Dr. Gandry, which one is better? Kale or spinach?
More bitter, more better. The right vegetables and fruit can help you lose weight, give you more energy, and really help you address your problems. So I'll tell you what, let's go shopping. Okay, I want to tell you some of my favorite vegetables that you should be having all the time. This is rapini. Looks like a beautiful bouquet that you should be carrying to a wedding. And it is really, really bitter. But if you cook it with onions and garlic and a lot of olive oil, it becomes one of the most succulent dishes that you can have. More bitter, more better. Artichokes, get them. The buddies in your gut think this is the best. The artichoke.
Hey, Neil, welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Here's an
Finally, after what seems like an eternity, we've got some new official gameplay from Battlefield 2042. DICE just released a video that's about 1.5 minutes long, and it's got gameplay clips of 4 of the... We've got McKay, Maria Falk, Boris, and Casper. It briefly introduces all of them and then goes through some of their specialist abilities and perks. And there's a ton of stuff to break down here, so we're just going to look at each clip individually, have a quick talk about it, and look at everything that's on offer. So without further ado, we're going to get stuck in first with McKay. This guy is an assault specialist, and their special ability is the grappling hook and the trait of Nimble. And in this first clip here, very straightforward. Love how that Osprey flies over the top, grapples up, third person takedown as well. To me, this looks significantly better than what we saw in the gameplay trailer, you know, the original gameplay trailer that they showed back in June. Just from a polish standpoint, it's looking real nice. And in this clip here, I think this is on the discarded map. You can see the Nimble trait for McKay gives increased agility when aiming down sights and ziplining. So McKay's going to be a very aggressive specialist, great for flanks, great for just attacking people head on. Next up is Maria Falk, and they've changed this one significantly, not just in her appearance, but also her speciality, which is that Surette pistol there. So originally, the Surette pistol was able to revive from distance as well as heal from distance, but DICE shared a bit of insight into this, and they said that from playtesting and the tech test, it was a bit too powerful, so they've adjusted things now, and instead of being able to revive from distance, it will now just heal from distance. I can imagine that if you had a front line and you had a couple of Maria Falks just constantly shooting from cover, for example, you're dead, you're up, you're dead, you're up. In a game mode like Breakthrough, for example, which we know this game has, the game just would never go anywhere because people were constantly up and there was no ebb and flow to it, maybe. So they've changed it. She was a bit too OP. Now she can just heal from distance. But she does have that combat surgeon.
$30-1 odds on Georgia versus Clemson. Plus, all customers get a risk-free bet on any college football game.
Trait that allows her to revive teammates back to full health. She's the only specialist in the game that can do that. I presume that means that the other specialists, when they revive someone, they won't be back on full health. And next up is Boris the Russian, and this dude has a sentry gun as their speciality and a sentry operator as their trait. You see him put the gun down there and it automatically spots and shoots enemies. Looks like it does a little bit of damage there. I love this clip here. And his trait actually means that if he's close to the turret, it will boost its efficiency. So you can put it down and just run away and it will do its own thing, but it's going to be quite vulnerable It can be taken out with EMP attacks, for example. It can be taken out with explosives, rockets, grenades, that kind of weaponry. But if you stand close to it, it looks like it's going to shoot faster, do a bit more damage, maybe have a longer range to it, be more efficient at spotting those enemies that are a bit further away. And then finally in this video we've got Casper, who is a recon specialist. Their speciality is the drone, and the trait is a movement sensor. And the clip here, nice little iPad there, deploys the drone, starts spotting people. You can actually mark people with that thing for your team, and it's supposed to have EMP attacks as well. But in the second clip here, you might be wondering, well, what the hell was going on here? Well, this is Casper's trait, motion sensor. Love the storm effects on this map, by the way. It looks great. They take out an enemy on the bridge with that bolt action sniper rifle, and then if someone is near you and creeping up behind you, it's going to be based on movement speed. You'll get a little alert. You see that little red ring that pulls to the bottom of the screen? That's going to let you know that someone is very close to you. You might be in danger, so best turn around. And that's all we got. Still no official date for the beta, but at least it's something. The footage looks great. I mean, the graphics in particular, as I said, I think that's a big upgrade on what we saw at the June reveal. It looks more gritty, realistic, more polished. I think it bodes well. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Surprisingly, this wasn't the only new Battlefield thing that happened today. Battlefield Mobile. Remember, a couple months back, EA announced that a proper Battlefield mobile game was being developed by a studio called Industrial Toys. Well, they put the Google Play page up today, and it's got a ton of information about the game on there and some screenshots. And as you can see, I mean, it does kind of look like a Battlefield game, and I'm pretty sure that this is Grand Bazaar. They are having playtests for this soon, and I'll let you know a little bit more about that in just a second. So there's a ton of info here. I'm not going to go through all of it because that'd be boring, but just the headlines so you know exactly what this is. So this will have all-out warfare in it, and you'll be able to squad up so you and your crew can play on maps that are both new and familiar to Battlefield players. So I'd say that that is Grand Bazaar. I mean, it looks exactly like it. So we're going to have some fan favorite maps being remade for mobile, as well as some new ones too. We've got tanks, we've got ATVs, and it says large-scale environmental destruction. I don't know if there are many mobile FPS games that have destruction. That's a staple of the Battlefield franchise really since Bad Company. So cool to see that it's coming to mobile as well. How detailed it'll be, we don't know yet. So they say that it will have those only in Battlefield moments as well. Explosive spectacles that Battlefield is famous for. Collapsing towers. You've got ATVs, you've got tanks. You're going to be able to parachute while firing a rocket launcher or burying enemies under the ground with rubble that you've destroyed, making every match unforgettable. So it feels like they're really leaning into the DNA of Battlefield with this game. And it is a first-person shooter. Maybe they'll have third-person modes, but they're sticking with first-person. It's cool. You can have classes, assault, support, medic, recon. Getting a lot of BF3 vibes here, which is kind of good. I like that. And then you can customize your loadout with a vast collection of weapons, skin, class-specific gadgets, and more. You can personalize how you want to play. And there's a little screenshot here with a loadout with an F2000, P226, a small frag grenade, and then a couple more options too. This will be free to play, but I hope that they just keep it to cosmetic stuff, right? Don't start charging for this stuff. Don't make the same mistakes that Battlefield 3 had back in the day, because that was incredibly pay to win and it failed. So just cosmetic stuff here would be brilliant. Yeah, it looks like it's gearing up to be a proper Battlefield mobile game. We've never really had that before. COD Mobile, huge. I think that's one of the reasons that EA have done this, and it can offer a bit of a different take on FPS mobile games than that can. But I'm pretty sure that we'll see Warzone Mobile too, so that's going to be a heavy hitter when that comes on the scene. Now, as I said, they are testing this game. An additional blog went up with this, and it said that they're steadily rolling out the Battlefield Mobile play tests, and they're going to start with Indonesia and the Philippines, and these will begin in autumn 2021, so next couple of months. And to start with, they'll only be available on Android devices, but they're going to expand the tests as time goes on onto new devices and new regions, so I'm sure we'll be able to get our hands on it very soon. And I've just noticed there too, it said Battlefield Mobile is free to play and only includes cosmetic items. Battlefield Mobile will feature its own Battle Pass collectible cosmetics and unlocks unique to this mobile game. Yeah, it sounds like they're gearing it up the correct way, and I hope that they stick to their word. The game is built for mobile only, so it won't feature any crossplay. It's going to feature Conquest, and they'll release a load of additional details soon, a bit closer to the game's launch. So there we have it, guys. Thank you so so much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts on the new gameplay of 2042 down in the comments below, and also your thoughts on Battlefield Mobile. Interesting one, that is for sure. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.
Time to go to work.
Let's get started. I've got you. Hold on. You're alive, but not safe.
Let's begin, please.
Ready.
DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
Guys, this is another experimental video. This is basically going to be semi-scripted. I'm gonna mix in some scripted segments with unscripted stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. Alright, let's just get straight into this. DLC has been both a great blessing and a great curse upon gaming, you know, dating all the way back to the mid-2000s, even before the release of the Xbox 360. And I'd say there's nothing inherently wrong with the concept of DLC, and there's been plenty of great DLC that's released, but overall, it's been a bad thing. It's just been another opportunity for publishers to ruin their own games by cutting content and just, you know, charging the user, gamers, whatever you want to call us, more and more money, milking us dry. You know the story by now, right? So, I guess the question is, how did it get to this point? How did it get this bad? You know, where did these microtransactions come from? Loot boxes, you know, all this just horrible, horrible practices. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, I do want to say, the brief history in this is a bit loose. I mean, this is in no way a comprehensive list of all bad DLC practices. I just want to talk about, essentially, the slippery slope that DLC has gone through. You know, if you want to see a comprehensive list with dates, I'm sure some YouTuber has talked about that by now. That's not really my style, you know. I'm sure somebody with, like, more artistic editing has done that already. So, this is more just like, let's take a look at this shit, let's talk about it. You know, just listen to me get depressed about how my favorite medium has gone to shit, essentially. So before the rise of online gaming and the influx of the casual market, we had expansion packs. Well, I didn't grow up with a gaming PC. The extent of my PC gaming in the 2000s was RuneScape and Flash games. Remember addictinggames.com? Yeah, I had a lot of fun back then. But anyway, games like Diablo 2, The Sims 2, Battlefield 1942, Civilization 2 and 3, Morrowind, and many others had these massive add-on packs that were sold in separate boxes in retail stores. Every once in a while you'll hear some old millennial talk about 90s PC gaming and how expansions used to add so much content or change the experience enough that it was almost like a completely new game. You guys have probably seen this meme by now of, you know, the painting with cut content. I'll just give you a refresher right here. But this pretty much sums up where this is going to go from here. So how did we go from expansions to loot boxes, battle passes, season passes, on-disc DLC, and the dozens of other manipulative practices that have been shoved into our beloved escapism? Well, the short answer is, of course, greed. But I think it's important that we examine this slippery slope and learn how everything has snowballed out of control in the last 15 years. Believe it or not, milking our wallets dry dates all the way back to 2005 with the Halo 2 multiplayer map pack. For $20, what did you get? 9 maps. That's literally it. Granted, today $20 will barely get you a fancy character skin, so maybe the map pack is not so bad. And actually, Call of Duty made this concept even worse, as they have what, like $15 map packs? Or they used to anyway. They had these like $50 season passes. It was 4 $15 map packs. That each map pack was what, only like 4 or 5 maps, and you had to buy them to play the game over the course of the year. And then they released the next game like right after the season pass ends. Like, what the hell was the point of that exactly? Like, I get if all you play is Call of Duty, I guess it makes sense to buy that. But what a fucking ripoff, dude. Like, it makes this map pack look good. But, so, let's fast forward to the 360 era. The birth of modern gaming. Early on, shitty DLC was something of a meme. Like the horse armor from Oblivion. Granted, it was only $2.50, but it was purely cosmetic armor for horses. So you can see where the birth of the cosmetic craze started. DLC in the late 2000s was mostly good though. They were more bite-sized expansions that gave you even more of a great game to enjoy. Fallout 3's expansions come to mind. Though Broken Steel was essentially a mandatory purchase at the time, because Fallout 3's ending was fucking horrible and just poorly written. I mean, like, they literally had to write in a story reason why you couldn't just send Fox in to activate the water purifier. Like, and it's the worst thing in the world. Just listen to this.
You have something to say? No, I'm sorry, my companion, but no. We all have our own destinies, and yours culminates here. I would not rob you of that. What an asshole!
Anyway, so the Pit, Point Lookout, Operation Anchorage, and Mothership Zeta were all solid content packs for the price, just $5 each. Or, you know, you could pay $25 to get all the expansions in essentially one of the first season passes. Broken Steel later released to fix the ending, adding a post-game story that let you wander the wastes to your heart's content at the end. Pre-order bonuses started to spring up around this time, a very obnoxious but ultimately kind of harmless practice in the sense that the content was never anything substantial. Usually some piece of gear that would be obsolete in an hour, or some half-ass mission that you probably wouldn't even play anyway. So while it was, and still is, shitty, it's nothing compared to what we deal with today. DLC hit its first major low point with Street Fighter IV, which was notorious for having several different versions released both physically and digitally, and featured the first major instance of content cut purposely before release to sell to you later. This is when on-disc DLC became a household name. Street Fighter IV had DLC costumes already on the disc that were locked until you forked over more money to unlock them, hence on-disc DLC. Somehow, Capcom managed to drag their own name through the dirt several times from 2008 to 2013. This continued through Resident Evil 5, which had its Versus mode cut for DLC, Mega Man 9 and 10, which had bonus modes cut, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which featured exclusive content that you could not purchase digitally, meaning fans would have to shell out $40 if they wanted to keep playing their favorite fighting game. And of course, then we get idiots back in the day, which it still pisses me off, even though this comment is, what, like 9 years old, that, oh, what difference does it make? Okay, you fucking moron. Like, really, just consume product. Just fucking buy the thing you already purchased that's on the disc. Like, as a normal human being who doesn't like wasting money, do I really have to explain the problem with on-disc DLC? You should legally own that content, the data on the disc that you bought. But, you know, fuck it, man. Like, at least on-disc DLC has mostly disappeared. I think occasionally I see an article about it every once in a while, but I don't know, dude. They've gotten too smart about these things. There's too many other ways to make money. Yeah, I don't know. This was just an especially sad time, as Capcom became like one of the worst companies. Well, they were replaced by Konami a few years later, and Konami is still a piece of shit to this day, so I guess that's good news for Capcom. So, actually, sticking with Capcom, another one of their games, Asura's Wrath, has quite possibly the worst DLC I've ever seen to this day. The ending. Yes, the actual real ending to the game was sold separately for $5. And I actually really like this game. I mean, even though it's barely a video game, it's more like an interactive anime with short, like, God of War sequences and, like, a lot of quick time events, essentially. It was fun. Like, it was very over the top. It's cool. I mean, honestly, I'm sure a lot of you, even if you've never played the game, have seen like some of these over-the-top cutscenes. And it's fun. I mean, maybe I'll cover it someday, and we'll probably be forced to buy that ending just so that I can cover it. But, dude, this was just fucking nuts. Like, how can you literally cut out the ending and sell it to somebody? Like, that is so insane. That's what I'm saying. Like, even though we all hate Konami now, like, Capcom honestly was worse back then. Like, the only difference is they didn't they didn't kill off their most popular franchise, you know? Though, you know, Metal Gear was kind of at its expiration date at that point. It sort of needed a reboot after 5. That we're probably never going to get. Konami is too busy these days making pachinko machines to give a shit about video games. So, this leads to when EA started pushing the online pass. Luckily, online passes didn't actually last too long, but they were essentially a cheap way to kill off used games. Basically, in new copies, there would be this little paper slip that would come in your case, right? It had a code on it. You had to enter the code to gain access to the online multiplayer. And a lot of times, these little pieces of paper would just have, like, little pieces of DLC. Like, it would be... They actually sort of replaced pre-order bonuses for a while. I guess because companies decided they wanted to kill off GameStop all of a sudden. So they stopped giving them pre-order deals. And, you know, that wasn't so bad, I guess, because if you bought a new copy, I mean, if you bought a used copy, you probably didn't give a shit about whatever little piece of DLC was in there. So, but when it was an actual online pass, of course they charge you like $5 to $10 if you buy a used copy to make up for their loss of revenue to be able to play online in the game. And holy hell, man, like, this was just one of the most desperate times. Like, I get not liking GameStop. I don't think anybody likes GameStop. Motherfucker! But you're essentially killing off all, like, the mom and pop stores as well. Like, all the fucking... Like, literally killing off just giving a friend a game or selling them your game or something. Because, like, it was just so desperate. It came across as so fucking desperate back then. And luckily, it did not last long. It only lasted about 4, maybe 5 years. And EA and Ubisoft, I think, were like the only ones really pushing for this. Mostly EA, with Battlefield 3, Dead Space 2, and pretty much all their sports games over the course of 3 or 4 years. And I couldn't really tell you why. I would like to say gamer backlash, but honestly, I think it was more just because of the rise of digital purchases and the slow death of GameStop. Extremely slow death. I mean, I can't even believe they're still in business at this point. So, even with the rise of exploitative DLC last gen, there were still some gems in the rough. We had standalone DLC expansions, which, you know, some of you might not consider this DLC, but honestly, I think it still counts because it was only available digitally, and back at the time, they were essentially marketed as DLC, right? And what I'm referring to, of course, is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, and Infamous Festival of Blood. And yeah, there were probably a few others, but these are the 3 that pop in my head as some of the most fun, like, standalone DLC games that you could just play. Like, they were, well, 2 out of 3 of these were like $20 or less, and I think Undead Nightmare was $30 or $40, but it was definitely worth the price. I mean, Undead Nightmare was pretty much a completely new game. Blood Dragon was like a short, like, new game, but it was still just, Blood Dragon's awesome. I'll probably do a video on it someday. And Infamous Festival of Blood was just like a short little, like, 2-hour thing. You got vampire powers. It was really fun if you liked Infamous 2. It was basically more Infamous 2. It added some, like, they had like a mission creator in Infamous 2, and it added like some additional stuff to that, so that was kind of cool. But basically, what I'm saying is that standalone DLC allowed developers to make like these cheap bite-sized additions to games because they could reuse a lot of the same assets. You know, it was much cheaper to develop, and so it was much cheaper to buy, you know, for the consumer. So there was nothing really exploitative about them. They were just fun, you know, and that's what it should be. That's how DLC should be used for. You know, it's extra content and hopefully new content. But also we did get some expansions that were reminiscent of old. You know, I think of like the Dragonborn DLC for Skyrim, the Artorias DLC for Dark Souls, the Ballad of Gay Tony from GTA 4, and, you know, I'm sure there's plenty others. You can probably just Google a list of good expansions, right? But for every good one, there were 3 more that were either cut content, asset flips, or just ludicrously overpriced. So now we get to the current gen. How did it get this bad? Well, personally, I think the cancer that is mobile gaming inspired greedy executives to implement similar monetization methods. The obvious connection being microtransactions. All of you have heard this term likely hundreds of times by now. You all know what it means. Mobile games have made billions of dollars through this tried and tested death by 1,000 cuts method. And of course, console gaming has this as well. Countless $5, $10, even $20 purchases of premium currencies, skins, yada yada yada. It's fucking tiresome, man. Every AAA game has this shit now. And yet people eat it up. The amount of time I've heard people praise Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah. An incredibly mediocre game with a permanent 50% EXP boost in the store for $10 fucking dollars. Also as premium currency for a single player game. Fuck you casual shits, dude. And fuck that one guy who fucking commented on my, I did that, you know, sort of news video, whatever you want to call it. I was harsh on Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad. Which, yeah, you know, I'm a cynic, like, I'll admit it. I'm overly harsh on games. Sometimes they don't entirely deserve it. I mean, the games are definitely, like, Suicide Squad literally just started development. So, you know, it could be good. I was just giving impressions of the trailer, right? But for fucking one guy just randomly decided to fucking comment on my Shadow of War, like when I was talking about Shadow of War's microtransactions. It's like, I didn't say you had to buy them, but the fact that they're fucking there is fucked up, dude. Are you serious? You're okay with that just because you don't have to buy them? Yeah, I didn't buy any either when I played the game. But you're fucking, you have to stare at it essentially every time you pause. Like, that tab will always be there. It always has this fucking obnoxious shit. And of course, see, here's the thing. This is what you people don't get, right? They got smart at some point. These games usually give you just enough free premium currency that you can afford like 1, maybe 2 loot boxes for free to get you hooked on the gambling aspect, right? And, you know, we'll talk about this a little bit more later when I actually get to the loot box segment. But my point is that this is where the consumer meme came from.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Like, this is a product. You can choose to buy it or you can choose not to. There's no obligation. There is no fucking entitlement. Like, that's the biggest joke I've ever heard in my life. That gamers are entitled. It's a fucking product, dude. They are made to cater to people to buy them. There is no fucking entitlement, you morons. Like, nobody, the fucking companies are entitled at this point. They think they're entitled to our $60. Like, and they have this legion of fanboys to tell everybody that they're like, oh, dude, I can't believe you're not gonna buy this game. Fuck you, dude. There's like 1 million games. You can play any fucking game you want. Okay, this wasn't supposed to be a rant video. But anyway, back to this. Alright, so, yes, so speaking of loot boxes, that was the next step in games. Literal gambling in video games. Isn't that great? I can't even blame mobile for this one, because EA basically admitted that the popularity of loot boxes came from their FIFA games. Over $1 billion annually, just from loot boxes in their sports games. So, you have your answer. I also want to throw some shade at Overwatch for further popularizing this shit. Yes, Overwatch was fair with them, basically giving them out for free, but that was the gateway drug for all the games that came after. Of course, some of you have noticed a distinct lack of loot boxes in games in the last 2 years. We can actually thank gamers for once for this one, as I'm 99% sure this is only because of the massive backlash against Battlefield 2. As that was probably the most egregious example of pay-to-win in a AAA title to date. You guys know what happened next. Thankfully, the threat of government regulation of loot boxes, nice job Belgium, by the way, and the game's financial failure saved gaming from going down an even darker path. And then, of course, you know, another thing that stemmed up recently was battle passes, you know, because of course the popularity of the free-to-play game, and then subsequently the popularity of battle royales, led to the battle pass, of course. Now, see, the battle pass is probably one of the less exploitative DLC practices, because it's essentially their way of supporting the free-to-play game in a way that's affordable for the average consumer. Because of course you're going to have the whales, just like mobile games. Whales typically, you know, okay, so just to explain, whales.
I think it makes him it makes him stand, like, especially this character, how his hair is against the dark purple, like from a distance. I don't know, it just seems like they're not standing out enough.
Like, some of them are basically just, you know, very sad gambling addicts.
Yeah,
you know?
Chucky.
And this is their only source of happiness or something. Which I actually do feel bad about that. That kind of
Elroy.
Yeah,
but for the people who are like rich and they're just blowing money on a shitty game to be better than like the peasants or whatever, like, oh my god, that's just sad, dude. That's pathetic. Of course, though, you know, for battle royale games, they don't really have pay to win. So instead, this translates into having like all these insane over-the-top skins that, of course, fucking some of them cost $20 for a skin, man, a skin. But the battle pass, on the other hand, whoever came up with that is a genius, you know, because honestly, it's kind of exploitative in a non-exploitative way, in a sense, which that sounds stupid. But if you think about it, right, so generally how they're set up, every 3 months you spend $10, and on its own you basically get nothing, right? So this is how they make their money, because essentially it's free money anyway, because you're not actually purchasing anything. You're purchasing the ability to get skins, right? And I guess they don't really give that same like psychological sense of like superiority, or at least not until the last few, like when you get to like near 100 in the Battle Pass level 100, as like say just buying a $20 skin from the store, because you can show off being like a rich kid or whatever the fuck if you wear your $20 skin. But with the Battle Pass, right, you actually have to play the game. You're actually unlocking things. So why it sucks and it's horrible is because, you know, unlockables used to be a thing in video games. They used to be a fucking real thing, right, that you would unlock. I used to love them, right? I used to love, like, Kirby Air Ride. I just want to talk about Kirby Air Ride because I love Kirby Air Ride. That's actually, surprisingly, I have not talked about it much on this channel. That's one of those games I talk about a lot, alongside Dark Souls or whatever, if you ask any of my friends. So, you know, the game director for Kirby Air Ride was, you know, Masahiro Sakurai. You guys all know him from Smash Bros, right? And that's where he came up with, like, his block system of unlocks, where essentially you have this grid, and you hover over things in the grid, and it tells you how to unlock stuff, right? Or it doesn't tell you what you unlock, but it tells you the challenge. And so, you basically start with, you know, nothing, and then you play the game, and you just naturally complete these challenges, and then you want to complete these harder challenges, and you unlock all this cool stuff, right? And City Trial Mode in Kirby Air Ride, fun as fuck. Love it. Definitely will talk about it someday. I know there's probably 5 of you out there who play Kirby Air Ride. It is the most underrated party game ever. I believe that. Legitimately. But anyway, so I guess the point of what I'm saying in the most dumb way possible is that unlockables were sweet. You know, whether it was fighting games unlocking new characters or like single player games unlocking like super awesome like armor, weapons, or whatever the hell you had to do to get stuff. And now you have to pay for that shit, of course. And the Battle Pass is essentially a way that you pay $10 every 3 months to put unlockables in a game, right? But we've been conditioned by now that seems like a good deal compared to everything else. And it kind of is, you know? And you almost feel bad because in a free-to-play game, unless you're a maniac who bought a million skins, you really are playing it for free. So I've bought probably like 5 or 6 battle passes. Or maybe not that many, because you do usually get them for free. That's the other smart thing, is that if you get all the way through the battle pass, you have enough to get the next one for free. And that's another really smart thing that they've done. So I think I paid for 4 battle passes, something like that, over the last 3 years. Yeah, I'll admit it, you know. I've bought some of this shit too. I don't even know where to go with this at this point. This was the free talk segment in my script. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not like there's no good DLC left. I mean, I know everyone's circle jerked Witcher 3 to death, but you know, the Blood and Wine expansion, you know, I'll admit this right here. I actually have not played the Blood and Wine expansion yet, because the last time I played through the whole game, I was like super satisfied and done, you know what I mean? So, and I haven't replayed it in a few years. So I'm probably going to replay it now that I have a PC, play it on PC, and then play Blood and Wine. But basically everyone says Blood and Wine's awesome. It's like a completely new game. It has even better writing than the main game, I think people were saying. And it's like, that's awesome, dude. That's exactly what the point of the, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s PC expansions were about. So it's not over, but it's over, you know? This is the problem, is that when there's so many shitty AAA companies, you have to, like, grasp onto the next closest thing as, like, our savior. CD Projekt Red is on such a high pedestal right now. If they fuck up even slightly with Cyberpunk 2077, it's gonna, like, crush so many people. Now, of course, there's going to be a legion of fanboys who are going to say it's fine. If it's a disappointment, I guarantee you people will be like, oh, you just had unrealistic expectations. And some people do. If you go on Reddit, there are some, like, idiots who, like, think the game is going to be like the second coming of Jesus or some shit. I haven't seen anything like this since No Man's Sky.
It seems almost like an everything game.
So No Man's Sky,
right.
what am I doing? What do I do?
we can create like an entire universe, right? And just set players loose in it. And they can do whatever they want.
And it just, here's the thing. You say you have infinite possibilities. There's infinite things you can do. There's
I
not.
don't think there's infinite.
You can fly here, you can land, then you can take off again and go somewhere else and land, and you can step out.
You can
and
set
shoot
up
things.
any game.
Which, dude, everyone, come on, man. Like, No Man's Sky was an obvious scam, or at least it was to me. I don't know. Maybe I've been around too long, you know? I pay too much attention to gaming news of all the insane promises, you know?
Customization can include depictions of breast, buttocks, and genitalia, as well as various sizes and combinations of genitals. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. You will be able to customize your privates however you see fit.
But Cyberpunk legitimately looks like a really good game, so if it disappoints, I'm gonna be very sad. I can't take it, dude. I have to be hyped for something. I don't even get hyped anymore, but this is the one time I'm still hyped. Fuck, dude. Please don't disappoint, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Alright, I don't even know where to go with this. The point is DLC in itself.
I mean,
isn't
I played
bad.
Cyberpunk
You know,
2077
it's just how
all the
they
way
used it,
through,
you know,
and it
it's kind of
fucking still disappointed the shit out of me.
But for some reason, the first thing that popped in my head was, you know, guns don't kill people, people kill people, blah, blah, blah. Not a good comparison. But the point is that you can do great.
Going odds on Georgia versus Clemson. Plus, all customers get a risk-free bet on any college football game. We've long been fascinated by the stars and the night sky. Ancient explorers were guided by the cosmic dance of celestial bodies through space. And humankind's exploration of Earth, our advancement as a species, has relied on how we interpret what's happening above our heads. Long have we gazed upon the vast expanses of the universe in wonder. And it was in this spirit that in 1950, the famed physicist Enrico Fermi famously asked his colleagues, "Where is everyone?" This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, has humanity solved the Great Filter?
Are you a fiend for facts? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one, and ring the bell for more fascinating content.
Enrico Fermi, reflecting upon the vastness of the cosmos, wondered how it was that we hadn't found evidence of extraterrestrial life. There were, it seemed, so many stars and planets, but still no sign of anything other than humans on Earth. Then and now, we're enduring what's often called the Great Silence. There have been various theories put forward, however, as to why we seem to be so alone. And although one might assume that the discovery of alien life would be a major and positive breakthrough in human history, there are some suggestions that it could actually be terrible for us. Enter Robin Hanson, an economics professor and contributor to the Future of Humanity Institute at Oxford University. Hanson in the 1990s suggested a possible explanation for the Fermi paradox, known as the Great Filter. The Great Filter theory states that there must be something that prevents life from reaching an advanced stage of development. That any intelligent life in the universe must first proceed through a ladder-like series of critical and developmental phases, but that one step on that ladder is extremely difficult or even impossible to pass. Therefore, it's only when life does pass that step that it can truly be deemed intelligent. The idea is that this crucial obstacle, whatever it is, must be far too high of a jump for most creatures and civilizations to make. And so it usually signals the inevitable end and regression of most life forms and civilizations. This is the Great Filter in action. But what could the filter be? To become an advanced interstellar civilization, there are some minimum requirements. First, there has to be a home planet. Then, if other alien species mirror evolution as we've seen on Earth, life itself needs to develop on that planet and spread. Then, the simpler blocks of life, such as unicellular organisms, must come together to form greater forms of life, such as multicellular organisms. These organisms must then evolve to reproduce to enable them to evolve some more. At our stage of life on Earth, humankind tends to take all of these imperative steps for granted. But it's only after all of this happens that we can even begin to build the civilization as we understand it today. Multicellular, reproducing, complex organisms must then invent various tools and use them to further advance their existence. Roughly here is where humanity is currently operating. One interpretation of the next step, however, is that a sufficiently advanced civilization must create advanced space travel technology. because that will allow them to take the next step and depart their planet, to colonize other worlds and star systems, and ultimately to avoid self-destruction. Of course, we know that humanity is actively striving to achieve space travel, and we've certainly made progress in recent decades, exploring the solar system and beyond with the development of robotic probes, reusable rockets, and radio telescopes. Yet, in all our efforts to launch machines and signals, we have, to this day, still received no response. We have every reason to believe that our universe contains many, many Earth-like planets, but we still have zero evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. The Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom has previously described the Great Filter as being like a probability barrier. How probable is it that a certain sequence of events should happen or not happen? How probable is it, for example, that the first building blocks of life emerge? How likely that they should spread, combine, and grow? And from that point, how likely that early intelligent life should advance to tool-using, city-building, jet-setting, tech-embracing, advanced societies? If any one of those stages is unlikely enough to be the Great Filter, then humanity has already passed it. And perhaps that's why we can't find other life forms. They're just not on our level. It's possible, however, that the Great Filter comes after all of that, and at some stage in our future. It could be an indirect event, an outside anomaly that results in the destruction of an entire species, an asteroid impact, a planetary collision, a passing black hole. These all could wipe out a planet or entire star system, and unless a civilization is advanced enough or spread out enough to withstand them, they will ultimately remove that civilization from space. Filter complete. It could also be a direct consequence of the advancement that any species makes, however, and the technology it creates. At this stage in history, for example, humanity is easily dangerously capable of self-annihilation through nuclear war. The rapid development of artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and smart machines has also led to speculation on whether out-of-control tech could be what brings about our demise. Could these facts of modern life double up as Great Filter contenders then? And would that mean that to solve the Great Filter, we'd have to see our own self-annihilation play out? If so, it figures that it's possible that similar events may have occurred and may continue to occur throughout the universe, with other civilizations, and perhaps self-annihilation takes hold before any two civilizations can ever find each other. But still, the most important question remains. Has humanity successfully passed the test of the Great Filter already, or is it somewhere on the horizon in front of us? If we've already solved the Great Filter, it breeds the possibility that we as a species are a rare occurrence, and it would explain why we haven't found any other similarly advanced view. They're the only example of a species that has made it this far. We are special. If the Great Filter is ahead of us, however, it could well spell inevitable doom for everyone. Now we're imagining that life does regularly make it this far. It routinely evolves in a similar way to our own, sometimes gets to where we are currently, but that something still prevents it from going further and gaining an even higher intelligence. In this scenario, the chances are that we're almost certainly not an exception to the rule. That something will happen to us, and we will also be filtered out of existence. In this context, we can return to the search for extraterrestrial intelligence mentioned at the top of this video. With regard to finding alien life, Nick Bostrom says, quote, "No news is good news." This is because, from some points of view, even the discovery of simple bacterial life on another planet would be a huge blow for humanity. It would immediately make it so much less likely that the Great Filter is behind us. Not unless, against all odds, both us and our recently discovered alien civilization had achieved the improbable and passed it. We can no longer hope that humanity had beaten the filter simply by being here, by getting this far, and instead we know that the test was most likely still ahead of us. The same test that has seemingly ended all the alien civilizations that, try as we might, we cannot find. But there is still hope, even in this scenario. If the Great Filter isn't behind us, it's still possible that life anywhere remains at an early stage, and that humanity could be leading the charge. Since the time of the Big Bang, we may still have developed at a greater pace than most, and that's why we're yet to discover any other advanced civilization in the universe. In this version of events, the Great Filter is coming, but it's still coming for all of us, and only time will tell who will pass it, and whether humankind will make it through. Clearly, there are so many interpretations. But regardless, the Great Filter does provide a potential solution to the Fermi paradox. And if it is lying in wait for us, then we'll either succeed or fail, survive or succumb. Solving the Great Filter could represent the single greatest achievement any civilization could make. but it could also signal the end of days. Which do you think is most likely?
What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments, check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.
Unprotected machines like this one are ripe for random phishing attacks. If Mom's company had given her the HP Elite Dragonfly with Wolf security, my attack would be dead on arrival.
One of the first questions I remember asking, which is, what else is out there? And I would look out my childhood window at the little patch of the sky, and I just remember wondering what they were and what else was out there. And I remember having this feeling almost of restlessness.
In 1823, German astronomer Heinrich Olbers looked up at the night sky and saw darkness. He wondered, if the universe were infinite and eternally static, then surely shouldn't the night sky shine with the light of infinite stars, a dazzling, brilliant sky? Olbers' paradox was so compelling that many considered it proof of a finite universe, a cosmos that at some point simply ends. It wasn't until a century later, when Edwin Hubble observationally established the reality of an expanding universe, that finally Olbers' paradox was firmly solved. You see, Olbers' second assumption was wrong. The universe is not static. But what does modern astronomy have to say about the size of the universe, though? Is it finite? And if so, does that mean there's an edge, a boundary? Or could it be infinite? An endless ocean of space with challenging philosophical consequences, if so? Join us today as we tackle this question, one of the grandest of scales. How big is the universe? It's the kind of question that a child might ask when they first encounter the concept of space. And yet, it is one which continues to perplex and even haunt astronomers today. It's often said that astronomy is a humbling experience. For whilst early thinking considered the Earth, the Sun, the Moon to be the de facto universe, our modern understanding establishes one which is unimaginably larger. At each stage in science's journey of revelation, humanity has had to swallow another pill of great demotion, being quietly ushered down to an ever lower seat in the great cosmic hierarchy. These demotions began in the 16th century when Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo challenged the geocentric view of their time, revealing that the Earth is just another planet. Next, in 1838, Friedrich Bessel pioneered the parallax method to measure the distance to 61 Cygni, a staggering distance of more than 10 light years, or approximately 100 trillion kilometers. Skipping ahead to 1920, famed astronomers Harlow Shapley and Herbert Curtis debated at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History as to whether distant nebulae were small clouds on the outset of our own galaxy, or entirely separate galaxies far further away. Soon after, Edwin Hubble established that it was Curtis who was right by proving that Andromeda lay outside of the Milky Way galaxy at a distance of 2.5 million light years. And today, equipped with our far superior telescopes, modern astronomy has pushed out our observations to distances undreamt of to even those pioneering astronomers. For example, look at this image. It is one of the most incredible photos ever taken. For you are looking at the most distant galaxy ever observed, GN-Z11. This galaxy is so far away that the light forming this image left it 13.4 billion years ago. A photographic time machine. The universe itself was just a few 100 million years old at this time, and so GNZ11 is a glimpse at what the first galaxies to ever form must have looked like. If we could see GNZ11 as it is now, it would probably be unrecognizable, and in fact likely have merged with other galaxies along the way. GNZ11 is estimated to be 32 billion light years away. Now, at first, that might seem impossible, because if the light left it 13.4 billion years ago, then surely it should be 13.4 billion light years away from us. The problem with that logic is that we have fallen once again into Olber's fallacy, because the universe is not static. In fact, GNZ11 has been hurtling away from us ever since the light from this image departed. Or, more accurately, I should say that the space between us has been expanding ever since. And so a correct calculation of GNZ11's current distance needs to account for this fact. And in doing so, we find that it should be today far more distant. Objects like GNZ11 can thus be thought of as establishing a minimum size to the universe. But remember, it's 13.4 billion years old, and we know the universe is 13.8 billion years old. So surely it should be possible to image an object that's even older than GNZ11, and thus even further away. And that, in turn, would extend the minimum size of the universe yet further. It's at this point that it's useful to distinguish between two distinct concepts. We have the observable universe and the visible universe. Now, neither of these really have anything to do with telescope capabilities. Rather, they are true limits dictated by space-time itself. The observable universe encompasses a distance out to a hypothetical object that was present at the very dawn of the universe, the Big Bang, but whose light is only now just reaching us. Of course, the universe didn't have any galaxies or even stars at the beginning, so there are no objects to detect. Nevertheless, based on the expansion rate of the universe, as measured using telescopes like ESA's Planck mission, we can estimate that this distance should be a staggering 45 billion light years away. Now, there may very well be something which lies beyond this hypothetical object, but it's so far away from us that the light from it has not had enough time yet to reach us, given the age of the universe. We say that such objects lie beyond our horizon, much like how a ship beyond the ocean's horizon is invisible to us. Now, it's worth highlighting here that the horizon of the observable universe has a special name, the particle horizon. Everything in the observable universe must lie within that boundary. Now, the visible universe is subtly different from this. In the first few 100,000 years after the Big Bang, the universe was incredibly hot, so much so that it was filled with an ionized plasma, which essentially acted as fog. Light can traverse the cosmos without interacting with this plasma, and so the bulk of the universe wasn't transparent, it was opaque. It was only when the universe cooled enough for atoms to form that the fogs cleared away in an epoch known as recombination, finally allowing light to travel freely. So, because of this, the visible universe is a little bit smaller than the observable one, but still one incredibly large. The observable universe is mind-bogglingly big. No words or analogies can really do justice to just how preposterously, frankly unreasonably large it is. When trying to imagine the enormity of it,
I kept looking at it the whole time. I was like, I gotta outline that.
Only skirts the very fringes of its true wonder, and that if we ever did comprehend its volume, we might never come back, like falling from a great height. Yet we are compelled to ask, could it be even bigger? Take the observable universe, corresponding to a distance 45 billion light years away. Now, usually at this point, videos like this take that number and double it. So 90 billion light years, and they will call that the diameter of the observable universe. We have to be a little bit careful.
That's the main one I was concerned about, really.
GNZ11 galaxy in the opposite direction of where we came first. And I don't just mean a galaxy which is similar to GNZ11, I mean a galaxy which is identical Well, that would imply that the universe somehow wraps around on itself, kind of like walking the surface of the spherical
Alright, so this
Earth.
truck is going to be like the next big block in.
The universe, with a fundamental claim, would have to be necessarily smaller than this 1989 number. So do we actually see any evidence for this? Well, let's return to the moment of recombination in the early universe. This is the oldest, most ancient light that we can observe, and it comes from all directions. The entire universe was filled with this ionized plasma. This light is known as the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, and it encodes the temperature of the universe at this time. Any patch of the CMB more than 2 degrees away from another patch is simply too far away to have had time for light to have traveled between them, at least given the age of the universe at the time, just 380,000 years.
Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and today I couldn't be more excited because we finally get to take our first look at the long-awaited ancient cities. This is getting me excited for all the other people to migrate. If we don't want to stay here, we can continue to travel. So we can settle down temporarily, and if this wasn't the best spot, we can tell our people to move section. So maybe we need to build a full circle. Let's try that first. A little bit of an experiment here, fighting the camera.
Time holding your seats. Welcome. I'm Jane Gould, the coordinator of the Technology and Culture Forum, and I'd like
Technology and Culture Forum.
Noam Chomsky on the foundations of world order.
Noam Chomsky.
Years of the UN, the World
Old head.
Bank, the IMF, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Sociology and linguistics.
Before we turn to tonight's program, I call
Professor?
your attention to the
I think he
Technology and
was
Culture
a
Forum's
linguistics major.
next program, Reinventing Universities for the 21st Century.
So this was right at the turn of the century right here. 1999. Right before we crossed over into a new century, yeah. Noam Chomsky was already giving like updates of what the next 100 years gonna be like.
If you'd like to be on our mailing list, you can either sign on one of the sheets of paper on the table. NAP has always.
He's old now. 'Cause even in 2000, he was old. Motherfucker probably like 80 something.
Just realized, well, listening to Jane announce the title, that it's also just about 50 years since I walked into this building for the first time. But I won't talk about that. We've just passed the 50th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That was a few weeks ago. The human rights regime, which was encoded in that declaration, is one of the pillars of the system of world order that was constructed on the wreckage of World War II. There were two other major foundation stones. One was the International Political Order, which is articulated in the United Nations Charter, and the third is the International Economic System, sometimes called the Bretton Woods System, designed primarily by the United States and Britain right at the end of the war. These three systems were closely integrated conceptually, and in fact the thinking behind them illustrates that, as does their interactions over the years. And to a degree that's quite unusual in world affairs, the three foundations reflected public attitudes and concerns over quite a wide range.
I just started thinking about Bill just now.
For that very reason, the principles that were articulated and to some extent instituted.
Next time I go down,
those principles were
I'm
quite
taking,
distasteful.
like I can sit in his class for a day with no problem.
Who were
I'll just take him down there and set up and just hang with his students.
Construct and shape and
like, yo, what time you having class today? Just come on down. You got something to work on? And I'll just go sit with his students, see what they're working on, and so he can brag about how much he taught me. Because even when I was taking his classes, like other artists was like asking him, like, well, how does Travis do that?
Usual framework of analysis.
How does he get it like that? It feels like just ask him.
It ought to be.
Then I was like, don't ask me, ask the fucking teacher and come up with your own fucking style, yo. Because Bill didn't like how I used to paint. He was like, but he got mad at that shit. He was like, you blend too much. In the beginning, he was like, just put the paint on. Just put the fucking paint on. You're trying to blend everything. He's like, you don't need to do that.
I'll try to give some.
I couldn't get over that shit though, because I come from drawing. And when I draw, like, I blend as I go.
View the contemporary world.
But now I can just block in the paint real fast like that, and not try to blend every fucking thing until the end.
So the main question that I want to get to is what has been the fate of the three basic and integrated pillars of world order that were established a century ago, and specifically what has been the role of the United States, which has been the primary actor on the world scene throughout, remains so, and the one that's most important for us, for obvious reasons, independently of the significance and scale of its contributions, which are usually quite great for equally obvious reasons. Well, that's the main question that I want to get to, but I'd like to approach it by detour, just to make life more complicated. And the detour has two tracks that I'd like to explore a little bit, and then from them get back to the questions. The first track is simply to remind everyone of what you already know. We have to bear in mind that the questions are not abstract, and they're not about some distant planet. So it's not like an academic topic for an academic seminar. We're dealing with questions of life and death, of suffering and pain and despair.
Yeah, this is not
the
some
voices
abstract.
that are heard, not that one. The voices that are heard are those of the are those of the rich and the powerful, naturally. There are also those who have sought to be a voice for the voiceless. Their fate hasn't been too happy. Some were simply assassinated by our hands, or those working for us, a chapter of modern history that one doesn't read about too much. In fact, they were assassinated, and there's quite a number of them, doubly, in that they were first killed and then silenced. So you can do a check and see how many of your friends can tell you the names of Eastern European dissidents and their murdered counterparts in Central America, and how many books you've read by one and by the other, and so on. It's an instructive lesson. But the voices that we hear, the ones that remain, are typically the powerful. And that's important because that's not the only voice. That's the voice of a small minority here and a tiny minority worldwide. Well, let me illustrate from right now. There are major stories in the press these last few days on the G7 meetings, the meetings of the 7 richest industrial countries, and on the interchanges between their leaders. So, for example, President Chirac's of France, his interchanges with Robert Rubin, who I guess might be called co-president of the United States. We have to give Alan Greenspan at least half the presidency. But so that's been all over the front pages. And those discussions
President,
are
who was that? Was Clinton in '99 or Bush?
Closely, they
That was
Not so closely, they revealed
Clinton still.
these discussions.
Joey Jungle said, "Art's looking good, Prince."
Yo, thank you.
The power of the United States in a rather dramatic form.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also
you.
its extreme isolation.
You know what I'm saying? I was debating this white outline for like a couple of days now, and it's like, does it need it? Does it not need it? Does it need it? Will it add to it? And so it's like, yeah, it really needed this white outline.
That apply to the rich and the powerful.
It makes it pop, and it gives it that like comic cutout style look, which is kind of iconic of cartoons anyway.
Starkness in the articles discussing these issues. I'll come back to that. In connection with the third pillar of world order.
And as soon as I outline these, there's a couple of more spots I want to fill in again and go over just to make the colors more solid. Elroy's hat and shirt are one, and his Doug's clothes. I want to go over those again, and then I'll start adding the school logos. Well, no. After I get their clothes tightened up, I'm gonna fill in this truck.
The New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal have no word on them. There's no shortage of information. Associated Press had
And get that squared away, because that's like a big chunk that's no, it's not done yet.
And if you look around the peripheral press, particularly in Florida, there was coverage.
But I've purposely left that because it's so far over here. Like, if I can just get this section done, then I can slide over here and just like finish that off.
Sonny, these aren't minor countries. These are major. These are not what are dismissed as basket cases, like Sub-Saharan Africa. This is Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, India, Indonesia, Nigeria. Quite substantial countries in which people expect to make a lot of money, if they can. 17 of them, even though it's called G15. A good part of the world. And they do have something to say, believe it or not. And you can even read it. For example, you can read it on the front page if you happen to subscribe to the leading journal in Egypt. Al-Ahram, which has an English edition, so you can read it in English. The United States, what they say at the G15 meeting is that the United States and Britain, this is mostly quotes, are unwilling to enter into a dialogue with the South. The South is what is euphemistically called the developing world. Which direction they're developing, you can argue about. The U.S. and Britain are unwilling to engage, to enter into a dialogue with the South, which is always forced to make concessions in the World Trade Organization to the benefit of the rich. The true story of globalization, they continue, is that the North has, that's G7, has to make maximum benefits, and the South is only entitled to a limited margin of development. And if this margin is crossed, the Western speculators are there to take you down as quickly as they can. That's not false, but it's a considerable understatement.
And so now I may even have to go over the white outline again, like, because some of this orange is wet, so you can see it kind of pull through the white. That's not too big of a deal. No.
Yeah, it's okay.
You good? Sit. Yeah, I wasn't calling. My bad.
I was sleeping. I was all comfortable. Somebody gonna pet me now. Really? I didn't call you though. He made the noise. He made the noise. Okay.
Good thing I know you'll come when you feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this morning she was ignoring us.
Mm-hmm.
I said, ain't that some shit? Yeah, you was ignoring us. We were talking to you, and you got your head turned. You need a bath, stinky butt.
College football titans are squaring off this weekend, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants
Yo, they're not public yet. FanDuel, but those little gaming, fucking betting apps and gambling apps like that, I bet that shit got some money in it, yo.
So there's a video we didn't get to in the main show that I definitely want to share with you guys now. In fact, someone shared it with me on Twitter and I loved it, so now we're sharing it with you
Young
today.
Turks.
So Hillary Clinton had a fascinating moment of clarity and honesty during an interview with Greta Van Susteren on Fox News. Now, clearly this is an old interview, but it's relevant given the fact that U.S. troops have been withdrawn from Afghanistan and the Taliban has taken control of the country. Now, Hillary Clinton was asked about the war in Afghanistan back in the day, and what she said was brutally honest and correct. Let's watch.
To be fair, we had helped to create the problem we're now fighting. How? Because when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, we had this brilliant idea that we were going to come to Pakistan and create a force of mujahideen, equip them with Stinger missiles and everything else to go after the Soviets inside Afghanistan.
Turned to the Taliban.
And we were successful. The Soviets left Afghanistan, and then we said, great, goodbye.
And now Al-Qaeda
leaving these trained people who were fanatical in Afghanistan and Pakistan, leaving them well armed, creating a mess, frankly, that at the time we...
In my song it says, train all the terrorists and now we want to kill them. Well, I won't be lying about that shit. We train these motherfuckers now. We train all the terrorists, now we want to kill them niggas. Alright, go ahead.
Really recognized. We were just so happy to see the Soviet Union fall, and we thought, okay, fine, we're okay now. Everything's going to be so much better. Now you look back, the people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, what's really frustrating about the media is that there'll be moments of clarity like that, and then everybody has collective amnesia, as if she never said it, right? As if that wasn't true. And by the way, her saying it doesn't make it true. Her not saying it doesn't make it false, right? But in this case, she is correct. And now the reason why it's relevant that Hillary Clinton says it is because the media is obsessed with people who are credible. Another way of pronouncing that is powerful. And so since the media serves the powerful, when someone like Hillary Clinton says it, sometimes they pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like otherwise with the knuckleheads, do they know how many people that work in media know that we arm the mujahideen, right? How many people that work in media even know what mujahideen is, right? And so that's the sorry state of journalism in America. And look, I got to be honest, she's talking about a segment. She's not referring to the segment that I did, but it's the same topic, and it's one of the pieces that I'm most proud of in all the nearly 20 years that we've done TYT, because I broke down why the Muslim world got as radicalized. This again, not the whole world, a small percentage, but an important percentage got radicalized. And it was two governments that were primarily responsible. One was the Saudi government and the deal that they struck with the Wahhabis, and the second government was America, because of what Hillary Clinton was referring to there. I went and read foreign policy magazines, books, etc., and it became clear that both the Saudis and the Americans captured the local media, newspapers and radio stations most of all, but some TV as well. And they pumped in the message that radical Islam was great, and that if you were a true Muslim, you would be violent. And isn't that amazing? And then they gave Stinger missiles to the Mujahideen and said, now go get who? The godless atheists in the Soviet Union. So if you were a true Muslim, you would kill the atheists. So that was our
Russia is very secular.
Contribution to radicalizing some portion of Islam.
Religion.
The Saudis did it all over the world,
America's
Southeast
a Christian
Asia,
nation, like
and Middle East, obviously, etc. And if you look back at old pictures, not only are there skirts on the streets of Iraq, Syria, but also in Afghanistan, and certainly in Iran, right? So all those places were more modern in the 1960s and 70s. And why did they switch in the 80s? Because that's when the Soviet Union went into Afghanistan, and that's when the Saudis struck the deal with the Wahhabis. And then they go and buy the media and influence Muslims to be more violent and more fundamentalist.
To defeat the Soviets.
To defeat the Soviets.
Yeah.
But then they unleashed this monster that we've been fighting ever since. And now you think, well, oops, that was blowback that we didn't expect. Yes, that's true, and I don't think that it was that conspiratorial when they first did it in terms of leading to more wars and that being a good thing. But it did turn out that defense contractors loved it, aided and abetted it, and certainly poured fuel on that fire with all the politicians going forward. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yes, we should militarize. Violence is the answer. And if now we radicalize some portion of Muslims and we have to fight them for the next 20 years, well, that's giant profits for the defense industry.
Right, they see it as a win-win.
Yeah,
right?
So they didn't lose, they won. We lost.
We lost, exactly. And so what I appreciated about that exchange wasn't that I agree with what the United States did to defeat the Soviets in Afghanistan, but I think that that's a perfect example of how the United States and its foreign policy goes in and like essentially just creates more problems through its interventions, right? So in this case, we're talking about Afghanistan, but the same could be said of so many.
August 21st?
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Motherfuckers still trying to teach motherfuckers about the Mujahideen. Like, there's, and like you said, it's not a conspiracy. The shit fucking happened.
It's just a matter of when it's gonna happen. If something hasn't happened already publicly, doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But it's just a matter of when it's gonna be revealed. Let me say that.
Motherfuckers should know this stuff by now. And then that's why I keep fighting these wars over and over. And who wins? The fucking military. Industrial complex, because they get to sell weapons and tanks and planes and all this shit to keep the war going. That shit is big money, you know. Alright, go back. It's just crazy, you know. They just posted this video.
Countries that the United States meddled in and decided they didn't like the government of, right? Whether it be Guatemala, whether it be Iran's a perfect example. I mean, they don't like the theocratic regime in Iran that the United States installed. The United States did that. I mean, it's just, I mean, the United States orchestrated a coup to topple a democratically elected leader and installed the theocracy that they're now wanting to fight against. This is what we see happen over and over and over again. And what's fascinating is that that clip featuring Hillary Clinton, pretty much forgotten. Someone sent it to me on Twitter today, and I thought it was fascinating. I had never seen that clip, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys today. I think it's something that could help us learn from the mistakes of our past.
Yeah, well, at least one more thing here. First of all, we helped.
Where the fuck did I see that shit? I had to be on some Alex Jones shit then. Because I've been seeing that shit, yo.
Hillary?
Yeah.
But she
said she never saw that shit?
This is an old prediction that went viral. Huh? An old Afghanistan prediction goes viral. So you probably saw it somewhere, but it's just now, like, you know.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm surprised that she's in the news and media, and she said she still ain't never seen that shit till recently. And then somebody, it's not because she was researching and looking for shit, it's because somebody just happened to send that shit to her.
Right.
And it's like, but I saw that shit in like a documentary, yo. That's how deep up, like hours and hours and hours of documentary. Yo. I know I've been seeing that shit. It seems like that should be old news. Why are they even trying to still teach that we funded and created the fucking Mujahideen? Which, that's where Bin Laden come from. Because Bin Laden was one of those fighters, and that's when they turned to the Taliban. And then Taliban, they talking about, oh, Bin Laden and Taliban bombed the fucking Twin Towers with the planes, but this motherfucker was a CIA asset. Y'all gave this motherfucker funding and training and weapons when he was the Mujahideen. It's like, it's so weird, yo. But now, like, y'all make these people and then you turn them into an enemy. Like, they create their own boogeyman. So you can keep it, once again, keep the war going. First, we're going to help fund you guys to help fight the Russians. So now we getting bread. Because now we making tanks and guns and bullets and shit for this Russian war. Oh, and then we radicalize you motherfuckers. Now we got another boogeyman because you know what? We don't fuck with y'all no more. Now we got to come fuck y'all up. And y'all got tanks and shit. Now we got to get more tanks and shit to go against your tanks. More money to the fucking military industrial complex.
Right.
Oh, Bin Laden bombed our buildings. Now we're going over to Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya shit for 20 fucking years, nigga. 20 years wars, nigga. Now they gotta figure out what's the next big one. Oh, we gonna just pull out. Al Qaeda came back. They running the country. We gotta go back in. Always an excuse, man. You can't never let a war end. Your wars can never end. Too many people lose money. Too much money. Yeah, this still is one of the most unique paints I've ever done. Like, I've never done anything like this.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, it was a lot, but it's just the colors in the background. It's crazy. I love it.
I like the clouds the best so far. I ain't gonna lie.
What? It's the colors for me. It's not even like the skyscrapers and towers. It's just the pow, pow, pow. Yeah.
And I was like, he was like, yeah, I just want it like that. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you know, that shit is kind of hot, bro. He's like, but so if the city skyline is going to be like that, what are you going to do with the bottom? Like, what's the bottom part going to look like? I'm just bring the colors all the way down. I guess, not unless you want it to be a straight cutoff line and the bottom of it be like a solid color or something. He's like, no. Bring the colors all the way down. I'm like, all right, that's what I was gonna do.
Right. The colors are hot. It's definitely unique. Like, nobody else is gonna ever have this.
No. And this might actually prompt some other people to inquire about commissions because they feel like maybe, oh, he only does one style of art and it's like that kind of almost realistic portrait type shit, and if I ask him to do a Bugs Bunny, he ain't gonna do that shit. Because I'll be asking motherfuckers to step outside of their door. Like, my homie does graffiti shit. Like, I ain't gonna ask them to do like some different shit that they all be doing.
Not that they're wrong. But that's the good thing. Like, you can do anything. You just choose to do what you want to do. But to do something else every now and again, to switch it up, like, just to know, yeah, I got that. Like, I just look at your art and, like, look at your Chancellor Williams. And then, like, look at your feet. And then look at this. You literally can do it all.
Man, I got that new tube of black. I've been using that instead of going to the one that's almost empty. Like, fuck this little bit of black paint in here. But then I'd be wanting to get all my fucking paint. I need to, you know what? I'm gonna order that shit right now. Cause there are some colors that are not on the shelves. But I wouldn't mind getting like a small tube of one of my favorite colors that is running out. And then I want to get like some large paint tube cranks, and you can like, I don't know, it just helps you roll it up like these little things. But these are only for like smaller tubes of paint. I need some for my bigger tubes. A paint roller. Damn, I don't know why I'm getting so distracted right now. But there is, what color am I fucking running out of? And I'm like, I can't get low on that shit. Okay, I need some gold ochre, cause that's, and I haven't been using it as much cause I don't got a lot of that shit left, yo. I'll be using that shit sparingly. I need that gold ochre and that old Holland, man, that shit too expensive. I don't think I'll buy that shit again, yo. It's nice. That shit cost though. Damn, there was another color. Got my face like all in the camera. That right there, because I don't got no more of that shit. I think I got another tube of that. There's not very many. I already got more of that shit. I already got more of that. Alright. So I need some Naphthol red, some gold ochre, and a fucking...
Sounds like a storage unit.
No, that's what I'm saying. I can't find these on the shelves. They don't have...
Nothing?
Not these colors right here.
You looked when we went last time.
Huh?
You looked when we went last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, they got like standard, like they're real standard colors, you know? Especially in the gambling paint, because it is more expensive, and a lot of people don't fucking buy that shit like that, because they sell Winsor and Newton, and the Winsor and Newton is a pretty good damn paint, and it's not as expensive as gambling. And so like some of their off colors, they just don't keep them in stock. Which is fucking, I don't know. It is what it is, but
it's popular. Us.
I do. That would be me. First things first. Come around, let's get started. Damn right. Like, who does that first? Me. I do. Didn't Trump say he was a Christian?
Did he? She had a good dream, man. She breathes so fast. Oh my god. Big. Look.
Yo, me and John Archer be going in it, boy, because this motherfucker religious as shit. Why won't will this country ever see a black a fully open atheist president? He's like it's highly unlikely the voting population leans towards religious. I'm like more and more Americans identify as atheists or non-religious. The shift is coming, bro. The shift is coming. Everybody don't believe in fairy tales no more, man.
That's it.
Talking snakes and motherfucking Satan and God having wars and shit. Angels raping people.
You got away with it for how long?
You know what I'm saying? I said that was just that last post is somebody that I never thought of, yo. It's just so simple. It's like, God can give Moses the 10 Commandments, but a man had to write the Bible. Like, why didn't God just write the whole Bible and send that shit down, yo?
Mm-hmm.
You wrote the 10 Commandments twice. Well, it was like 20 commandments or something, and then he threw the tablets down, or it was 15 or something, and then he went back, and God had to write it again. Like, look, motherfucker, don't break these. God now. So now he come back. He wrote that shit twice in stone. But a motherfucker can't write the whole Bible for us. I don't get it.
Yeah, it don't even make sense. Like, what did motherfuckers do before the Bible?
Exactly.
Real shit.
Yeah, because the people in the Bible stories didn't know the Bible was getting written. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know their story was about to be a part of this. But so what the fuck y'all was doing? Oh man, we was just believing in, Bell and my aunt and everybody else, man, regular shit. I really think I brought a different shade of black. I didn't mean to do that. I always get confused between ivy black and lamp black, and I think I should always use lamp black instead of just ivy black.
Yeah, don't get me to picking out different shades. Although I might, because when I go to the nail salon, I'm like, no, not that purple, that purple. Like, what's the difference? No, there's a difference. Don't play.
I think the lamp black is darker than ivory black. And then every time I go there, it's like I can't remember when I'm looking at it. I'm like, which one is the darkest one? I'm gonna take a half a tube of paint back to the store. Like, y'all don't like this color.
Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah, get my money, but I don't like this color.
In memory of Bob Ross.
I thought it was gonna be different.
Oh, matter of fact, in memory of Basquiat. Real shit.
Said that Basquiat green I was looking for.
It ain't that Bob Ross blue.
Alright. So what I want to do now is look. Damn. You may have to connect your phone. Oh, never mind. You're doing something else.
No, I think
Because
it has to be on the charger or something. You said.
I need to I just want to see one other thing of a photo. Or did I don't think I put it on my damn phone. Cause I did a little tassel on this hat some kind of way. And where's the markup for that shit? Didn't I do that? Yeah. It wasn't hanging off the side though. Cause they do these things normally hang off the side. The little tassel on the top of the hat.
Yeah, once they graduate, it hangs off to the side.
Alright.
You flip it from the one side to the other.
Yeah, so Ashley said I want them to have the hat and everything on, and I'm like, well, I better add just that little detail to it. And so I'm gonna have it hanging off of, coming off of this side, I guess. And I want it to be in this color. And it's just, I don't know, it's just gonna do some other simple shit. Boom, boom. Circle, bam. Line, like swoop, swoop, swoop. And then tassel like doop, boopity doop. Boom, just like that. I think that looks slick enough. And then I'm gonna outline it in black first, and then outline it in white. And then it was something about his uniform that I changed, but that has to be done in tan. I gotta make a tan color. Let's see. All right, we're gonna.
What did they make this trampoline out of?
Huh? They made a trampoline?
Why would they do that? Do you think you're Jesus? Yo, what kind of jackass type shit is this?
Jackass type shit?
Oh my god, why would he do that? You know what? That's a part of reparations. You want to give us reparations, you gotta do this shit right here. Look.
What is that?
You're gonna see in a second. Did you hear it?
Snap, snap. That's barbed wire?
Careful? Like, how stupid are you? Yeah, my phone's on 1%. So.
You can take the charger. Well, no, I'm gonna get the tablet back. Well, you need to charge your phone anyway, so take the charger because the tablet got charger.
I mean, I can get out too.
Oh, well, bye then.
I mean, I'm not trying to leave you. You've been here for 2 hours. I know you're trying to grind.
Yeah. All right. Hours.
Bye. Did you wait? But you said you needed my phone for something.
No, cause I was ready to say just to listen to stuff, but it can be quiet until I get it.
Well, how much longer are you planning on staying in?
Like 30 minutes or something.
Alright. You wanna go get some food?
Orchestrated a coup to topple a democratically elected leader and installed the theocracy that they're now wanting to fight against. This is what we see happen over and over and over again. And what's fascinating is that that clip featuring Hillary Clinton, pretty much forgotten. Someone sent it to me on Twitter today, and I thought it was fascinating. I had never seen that clip, and that's why I'm sharing it with you guys today. I think it's something that could help us learn from the mistakes of our past.
Yeah, well, at least one more thing here. First of all, we helped the Afghans defeat the Soviet Union. Do the Afghans look like they need help in defeating empires? They got that on lockdown. They've been doing it for hundreds, if not thousands of years now. Go ask the Persian Empire, go ask the Russian Empire, our empire, etc. Now, you go in those valleys, and you're going to come running out. That's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, right? So they didn't need us to radicalize them to defeat the Soviet Union. It was just an unmitigated disaster on our end. But remember, again, the powerful got rich off of it, so they're not upset about it at all. And there is one extra element to it, which is, look, Israel did the same thing with Hamas. They thought, I have a genius idea. We'll split up the PLO, okay? Mm-hmm. And so, and they did. They split up the Palestinians, and they got them fighting with one another. They think mission accomplished. Except the thing that came out of that was Hamas. Oops, not mission accomplished. Now, you think for the citizens of Israel, that's terrible. For the citizens of America, for what we've done, we've had so much blowback, and it's been terrible, right? But when you look at it from the perspective of right-wing leaders, whether it's the Netanyahus or the Cheneys or the Trumps or the Bushes of the world, they think, wait, was it so bad? Every time there's war, people get scared and they vote for the right winger.
That's right.
And so that's why Netanyahu, on his way out, tried to start another war because he was worried that he was about to lose power. It didn't work in his case, but he went to that well like 20 times as leader of Israel. Cheney refused to take a deal with Iran, even though we would have had peace literally now 17 years ago with Iran if Cheney had taken that deal. He said, we don't negotiate with evil. The Taliban offered up bin Laden. We didn't take that. Right. We had Al-Qaeda cornered and bin Laden cornered in Tora Bora. Rumsfeld said no to that. Why do they keep saying no to peace and to things that would help us? Because they're not us. They're the powerful. They're the elites. And for the right wing, they get tons of money from defense contractors, and they get to stay in power if there's more conflict and more war. And so Hillary Clinton revealed a small piece of that there, but the rest of the media instantly forgot it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you got to do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.
College football titans are squaring off this weekend, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants everyone to get in on the game day action. Right now, we're giving new customers exclusive 30-to-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can bet $5 to win $50. Plus, this week only, we're giving all customers a risk-free bet on any college football game. New customers get exclusive 30-to-1 odds on Georgia versus Clemson. Plus, all customers get a risk-free bet on any college football game. Download FanDuel.
I sense that we are not welcome here. Keep your eyes open. We don't want to create any further commotion.
In the very first video of this channel, I wanted to talk about a game that I will be remembering for the rest of my life. Yet this game is not massively special, but what it does right in every part. The atmosphere, the graphics, the beautiful yet polluted London, and also the detailed weapons, to its creepy and extremely scary werewolf sequences. It was the year 2015 when a third-person action-adventure video game called The Order 1886 was published by Sony Computer Entertainment and developed by Ready at Dawn Studios, which is a company that was almost completely unknown at the time. And although this game has received a recent cult following as of late for its beauty and how it was thinking outside of the box, it's still left as an extremely underrated action-adventure game, outside of the decently sized fanbase of today. Released for the PlayStation 4, this title features a unique world full of steampunk-themed technology, also King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, as well as half-breeds such as vampires and werewolves. And by hearing this, you already have me hooked. Though you might be surprised to know that the biggest criticism of this game was the length. Everyone loved the gameplay and the experiences and the story. Yes, I admit that anyone can finish the game in under 5 hours, which is really not a lot. However, The Order 1886 still offers a great experience experience with an amazing story, outstanding graphics, and decent gameplay. It's a really great game for the price it offers. It was one of the most eagerly awaited PlayStation 4 exclusives at the time. I would say that it is still one of the best looking games to date, which features a great atmospheric Victorian London setting and of course a superb single player action.
Join me upstairs now.
Another time.
Tell me the truth. I can show you things you've never seen before.
Rebel down!
Some people are saying that the game is still one of the best looking games on PlayStation 4, and it's the date in 2021 that people are discovering it. You cannot not love the photorealistic textures, beautifully animated characters, and the incredible lighting of the game. If you prefer constant action, gameplay, and the bullets flying, then this is definitely not the game for you. This game is almost always about thinking and when to shoot at the right moment. There's quite a lot of action scenes, but most of the game's story is being told through cutscenes, which is why some people were a bit turned off by it. The story itself is full of mystery, intrigue, and lore with amazing characters who you come to truly care about by the end of the game. During the action, you can use machine guns, rifles, shotguns, and a thermite gun that can set the entire battlefield ablaze. Did I mention that you can also use an arc gun that fires electricity? So, the game follows the legendary Knights of the Round Table, who are battling to keep the planet safe from fringe organizations rebelling against the government, and werewolves as well as vampires. It is set in an alternate history of 1886 London, where an order of knights keeps the world safe from monsters.
I don't know.
These monsters are all free. The majority of humans are afraid.
Yo, I don't know who didn't play this game, yo. The Order, what was it? 1877 or some shit? I don't know, 18 something. Yo, like you said, yo, this fucking game was hot as shit. The Order, 1886. And a lot of people didn't like it because it was like a lot of time action events where it's like a cutscene. It's like, oh, tap the square button. Oh, hit the R1 button. But I didn't mind that. Like I say, and then some people don't like playing games that are like a movie. But I like that aspect. I don't mind playing I don't mind watching a movie that I can play. I can interact with something that's almost a complete movie. The Uncharted series with Nathan Drake, that was kind of felt like that to me because the cutscenes are so good and the animation quality is done so well where it feels like you're playing a movie. And I don't know, several games have been able to capture that aspect. The Last of Us Part 2 really got all the way in there where it was like so cinematic. It was like you're just playing this cool ass fucking movie. And it was kind of, like you said, it was really short too. It was just a single player campaign. I don't think there was any online to it, and you can beat it Like if you did a speed run and kind of ran through that shit, you can just beat that shit in a couple hours.
Eventually, the war broke out. The monsters keeps winning battles against humans
Why
until...
didn't I reconnect this to that?
But most of the game's story is being told through cutscenes, which is why some people were a bit turned off by it. The story itself is full of mystery, intrigue, and lore with amazing characters who you come to truly care about by the end of the game. During the action, you can use machine guns, rifles, shotguns, and a thermite gun that can set the entire battlefield ablaze. Did I mention that you can also use an arc gun that fires electricity? So, the game follows the legendary Knights of the Round Table, who are battling to keep the planet safe from fringe organizations rebelling against the government, and werewolves as well as vampires. It is set in an alternate history of 1886 London, where an order of knights keeps the world safe from monsters. These monsters are all freed. The majority of humans are afraid of them. Only a small number of humans took on the bestial threats. Eventually, the war broke out. The monsters keeps winning battles against humans until Sir Galahad, the main character, decides to take the matter into his own hand. Let me tell you that the gameplay revolves around a cover-based shooting mechanism. You'll be journeying through linear paths, and the enemies will force you to remain on your toes by tossing grenades almost all the time. As the player, you will guide Galahad through the environments and will use crossbows, pistols, grenades, and different unique rifles to defeat your enemies. Trust me, the combat is really exciting in this game. Despite its shortcoming, the game still has something that has a lot to offer. I could simply look at London's environment for an hour and enjoy it, or fight super realistic werewolves in creepy basements. And although the Order 1886 might not have been an essential purchase at its $60 launch price, it is indeed still a good PS4 exclusive that is definitely worth checking. Since the developer has returned to VR projects, we might not be able to see a sequel, but I still hope that this game gets a sequel after the cliffhanger ending. It sure has the potential to become something great in the PlayStation brand. If they do give it a chance someday, I really hope they can do that.
All personnel,
I'll play this
we are witnessing heavy artillery fire at the moment.
It did end like it is gonna like be more to the story. It was like doot, that's it. FanDuel, oh no, I just always be expecting a FanDuel commercial now. Yo, these city builder games are so popular. Like, there's all kinds of. I might. Oh no, you know what I did? I'm not gonna lie, yo. I don't know, man. Just sitting around, always bored with video games lately. Especially not really wanting to buy a video game if it's gonna be like kind of corny and I don't actually want to finish playing it. And so, like, PlayStation has this thing called. Well, you got PlayStation Plus. That's where you get free games each month and access to different online content for free just for having your PlayStation Plus subscription. But then they have something called PlayStation Now. And it's a library of old PlayStation games, most of them from like the PlayStation 3 and 4. But with PlayStation Now, you can just like stream games without actually having to buy it. With their pass, you just buy the membership pass and like whatever they have in their library, you can play it whenever you want to. And that's how I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which was a critically acclaimed video game. There's still like tons of goddamn hardcore fans for it. They're gonna put out the next installment, I think before the end of this year or early next year. Horizon Zero Dawn, the something West or something like that. So I've heard a lot about it. I just never played the game. But now that I ordered that PlayStation Now, I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn. And cheesy.
No cheese in it.
It's just straight tomatoes?
Tomato and rice.
Rice?
I put seasonings in it.
It tastes good. I don't know why it tastes like that tomatoes got a little cheesy flavor to them. But yeah, so now the PlayStation Now Pass is $60 a year. But I thought about it, it was like, you know, if I were to gonna like buy Horizon Zero Dawn, even now, since it's an old game, like it's 3 years old now, like if I still went to buy it, I would spend like $40 on that game, where I just kicked out an extra $20 and now I got access to like a little library of older games that are still good that I never played, and just can like just stream and play it anytime I want to. So I ordered it for a year. I'll see how it is and what kind of games they have up there and what they don't have up there, and maybe I'll keep it, maybe I won't. I'll definitely keep PlayStation Plus, because I think with PlayStation Plus there's something about your online pass. There are certain games you can't play online if you don't have PlayStation Plus. Or at least that's how I remember it was set up. So it's kind of like almost mandatory to have that if you're gonna play like Call of Duty and all them other games. Like you gotta have your Plus package.
Plus package.
But like I say, they give you 2 free games each month, and they're relatively newer games than what normally goes on PlayStation Now. But we'll see how it works out. So technically now I'm giving PlayStation $100 a year for access to all of their features now.
Plus what you already gave them and shit.
Yep, everything I already bought, and that's why I say like I need to get some PlayStation stock, because I've been with PlayStation for 20 years. I bought all their products, and I constantly invest because that's my hobby. You know, gaming is still like my pastime, and Sony gets a lot of my fucking money.
You know, when I first got with you, I thought it was like gonna be like an occasional thing, because when we first got together, you didn't do it as much. I think you were trying to be like respectful and not like play games all day, so I could be that woman like complaining like, what are you doing? But I thought it was like a phase or just like
Then when that Cyberpunk came out,
oh my god, I was like, all right, you know what?
and that's why she didn't see it, because I ain't had no new games. But when I get
and it really annoyed me when you started playing your games so much, because I'm like, we were spending all this time together, and then you went playing your games, and I'm like, where's my attention?
Yeah.
And then when Cyberpunk came out, I finally realized, like, sis, just let him play his games in peace. It makes him happy. And go find something to do. Or watch it, because half the time you want me to watch you play the game.
Because they're good stories sometimes.
I watch it with you all the time.
Some games got good stories too.
Yeah, I watch it with you a lot more often now. I even played that one game.
That Horizon Zero Dawn, I want to know why the fuck they're outcast. That's the part I can't wait to find out.
Right, like why is he?
Why did you and not be spoken to? And like, who the fuck were her parents? Where did these machine animals come from? Like, there's so much to that story, and I see why. Like I say, it's an older game. That shit's been out for years. But like, I don't know what else I was playing, but I just never picked that game up. But so many people talk so good about it. Like, yo, that story was dope as fuck, yo. So we'll see. It's like something reset humanity. We grew so technologically advanced that like machines kind of took on a life of their own, and I don't know, maybe the machine, because they hunt these machines and they're like real like animal type machines. It's weird. And so like, did we build our own demise and reset everything? Now people live like they got bones on their fucking ceremonial garments and like pieced together like animal skins and shit. It's like, damn, y'all went from all the way from this very, very high technology to like right out of the Stone Age again.
Reset.
And then nobody understands it. Then she finds this ancient place with the technology, and he tells her like, oh, it's forbidden. We're not supposed to go in places like this. And then she takes some technology out, and it allows her to like scan the world around her and analyze different things and get readouts. But nobody understands that technology. That they don't know how it works or where it came from, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like just like our pyramids and shit. Like the shits are there, but we don't know. We don't know what that shit was. And now they're making it forbidden for us to walk on them and touch them and go inside of them and just like leave that alone. Those are things from the old ones.
The old ones. Yeah, that one was actually pretty good.
That's why I'm kind of anxious to go play now. Play for like an hour or so. Alright, so 10 more minutes. I do 2.5 hours this morning because we've had a weird morning. We've been up like from 1 o'clock. My girlfriend got some family news and we were up for a while and then we tried to sleep and really can't sleep and
we were
hungry and we did take a nap and now we're back up and like I said, there's a lot of shit going on right now. So we just really just trying to chill but I definitely need to get these commissions done. And the other commission I'm working on is, like I said, it's for a coworker of mine, which is always dope. Like when I personally know somebody who's buying my art.
They're understanding.
Yeah, like.
She works with you, so she knows.
Yeah. And so, like, if it takes a little bit longer or whatever, it's all good. Even this guy right here, he was like, oh, like, as long as I get it before Thanksgiving. I'm like, bro, I'll definitely have this to you before Thanksgiving, bro.
Right.
You gotta worry about that.
Big facts. Yeah, like it just hit September. Now it's really just gonna be waiting for it to dry. You're really almost done.
Yeah, almost. I block in this car and block in his shirt and figure out where I'm gonna put the sun at.
In the corner.
And then put the little logos on each. Like he want the school logos on each of their shirts. I just scribble them in and this shit is almost done. I can see like just a few more hours, maybe like for another 4 or 5 hours. This will be knocked out. I said, well, I did 2.5 hours now. Like, yeah, another. And I ate in this session right here, so I ain't even really paint the whole time. But I figured like hard brush work, brush to the canvas, like another maybe 4 or 5 hours, I'll be signing this bitch. Get it out of here. Give me my money. What's your address? Give me my money. I got something to send you, man.
Money.
Yo ego, yo painting. One of a kind. This is truly one of a kind Prince production right here, boy. He said it too. He's like, I know it's kind of different, man, but it really means a lot to me. And just how he said that shit, like it means you can hear it in his voice, like that shit. Whatever it is, all that shit means a lot to him, man. Shit really means a lot to me, bro. It's my pleasure, homie. If I can make that shit look how you envision it to look, we both doing good. We both in it good. Shit, you spending some dollars right here.
Like you're getting a lot of custom stuff.
Yeah, that's it. You getting some nice, real,
and buy cartoons. Shit. Yeah.
And it's not my standard size canvas. He's like, I want a bigger canvas. I got you whatever you want, homie.
Cha-ching.
Whatever you want. All right. Like I said, I got a few more minutes, then we getting out of here. I would stream my video game, but I ain't gonna do that. Y'all just gonna have to play it for yourself. Like I said, it's on PS Now. I watched some YouTube videos, but it's a really good game so far. And I'm kind of biased. I'm not gonna lie. I hate when I say this, and it's not right or wrong. It just sounds wrong. And I know it sounds wrong when I say it, but I still feel this way. I don't like playing video games where I'm a girl, where I have to be a girl. And the main character of this game is a girl, and it's just like, eh. But it's still good, though. It's still a good game. And that's how you know really good games. Just like The Last of Us. The first time around, you played Joel, a rough, gritty guy. And then the second time around, you play Ellie, a tough-ass bisexual chick. It's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, eh. But it's still a good game. I played it all the way through. Played it as a girl character. No problem. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't really be having a problem with that. Dude, I just identify as a man. I'm Agent 47, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fucking Liquid Snake, goddammit. I'm goddamn Aiden Pierce. You know what I'm saying? When you get I don't know, I just, just identify as with a male role. Just like I was playing Red Dead Redemption, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking Arthur Morgan in this bitch, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm Aloy, whatever her name is. Like, damn. Alright, so I'm a girl now. Somebody's gonna take that snippet right there and just edit that shit. Travis Prince says he's a girl.
Well, what else did he say? He's a girl.
What he said was he's a girl character in a video game. Now everybody's getting on Joe Rogan because he caught COVID after he's like, I don't want to get vaccinated. And he's like,
and he came out publicly and said he has COVID?
Yeah, and then he said he was taking like horse steroids and stuff, and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? He's like, I'm doing whatever experimental shit my doctor says may work.
Dude, really?
Swear to God, yeah.
Seriously?
I'm like, damn, Rogan. But hey, that's what he
could have kept that one to himself, honestly.
He's like, I'm on this right here. I'm on some chloroquine and
he's showing you, like, you don't need to get vaccinated. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah, he's like, I'm good, though. He's like, I'm coming off of this shit. Alright, 3 more minutes and I'm wrapping up, guys. If I can just paint this side mirror. I hate playing this 50 Shades of Grey thing. Alright. Just looking pretty good so far. Damn, I was about to say that shit all backwards. Looking pretty far so good.
Pretty far so good.
I don't know how my mind was working.
Pretty far so good.
Come Forrest, nigga, looking pretty good so far. Damn. I can't say the alphabet backwards though. This nigga just gonna randomly say whatever sentence backwards. What the fuck was that? We call this a glitch in the matrix, people. A glitch in the matrix. Alright, so come back. We're gonna add like some darker gray lines here for the contours of the truck, and then we're gonna just literally black out the tires and black out a lot of the front part on the grill, and that's gonna be that. Then we'll outline that in white. Oh no, I'll wait until I finish his. Is this black on here? Yeah. Until I fill in his uniform, which is gonna be tan. I think his pants might be black, or I'll do them in dark blue or something, whatever kind of cop colors. And shit, this might not even take 5 more hours. Like I said, yeah. Let it dry a little bit.
I don't know that it's even take that.
Get those letters on their clothes. Do the sun. Blocking this. I don't know. Maybe another 2 hours. I do want to go over the white outline again. And I gotta finish the white outline underneath the skateboard. But that orange is still kind of wet. So I just like screw it for right now. We'll see how it works out next time. Outline that skateboard.
Skateboard? Alright, let's see.
Make sure I got my own little brushes cleaned up. Alright. I think we're good enough to get up out of there. Make sure this is off. Not burning up the battery. Review in 2.5 hours, not bad. I start right at 2:32.
Like perfect time, yeah.
Perfect time. Start right at 2:30. Alright, so my goal for between today and tomorrow is to wrap this shit up. I've had it for over a couple weeks because I started it before I went to South Carolina. So this is maybe my 4th week. It's like a month so far. But I did have damn near a week out of the state where I wasn't painting, so yeah, had shit going on. So that's not bad, time wise. So like I said, I figured if I can finish it between today and tomorrow, let it dry for the duration of the week, maybe next weekend I can varnish it and ship this thing out. And then I'll be focusing on that painting there. And then after that commission is done, we're going to start back grinding on my own stuff. Back to my own business. I really do think I'm going to get a lot of positive feedback from this. If not, at least a lot of questions on who asked for that? Where did that come from? Who idea is that? Did you do that? Or at least I hope it sparks some conversations. Yeah. So it's looking good though, looking good. I like it. I was so unsure of that shit to start with.
I'm glad you did it because I really like this one. I'm knocking one of my homeworks out.
Alright. Appreciate everybody watching. Catch y'all next time. Peace.